1, 2, 3.
Okay. So if I could just have you state your name, age, occupation, and hometown for us.
Yeah, my name's Jordan Loy. I'm 31 years old. I'm a CHP officer, and
Might have to redo it.
yeah, perfect timing.
Okay, now we're good. Yeah, so name, age, occupation, hometown.
Alright, my name's Jordan Loy. I'm 31 years old. I'm a CHP officer, and my hometown is Paso Robles.
Thank you very much. So how long have you been working along this road?
I've been out here since the beginning of July on the 1.
Okay. So when you came here, there was already the closures?
Yeah, I came out here because of the closures, because the Monterey area covers the Big Sur area, and we weren't able to get to the lower half, so essentially there was no law enforcement presence out there. Since I live in Paso Robles, they figured that I should come out here, access through Nacimiento Ferguson, and work the normal days I already work, Friday through Monday, which is essentially the height of travel out here, and have that visible presence.
And so are you the only officer that operates in this area?
Friday through Monday, I am the only CHP officer out here. We do have sheriff as well as Hunter Liggett PD is nearby.
Okay. And where's the closest police station to us right now?
It would be Hunter Liggett PD.
Have you noticed any changes in? I'll wait till this car passes. So you don't live terribly far away. Can I just ask, are you familiar with this area before having worked here?
Familiar enough.
Okay. Have you noticed any changes in terms of crime or what you're stopping people for now that the roads have been closed?
Really, there's not very many people out here to stop and to commit crimes. Being that I'm covering such a long, windy area, I'm only able to cover so much throughout the day, so that I'm not seeing that much traffic because of the closure. I'm more here. The locals are stoked to see the presence of law enforcement. I'm out here to help the tourists that can't find their way, that aren't familiar with the roads, aren't familiar with our language, that don't know that the road's closed, that don't know where gas is. So as far as crime, it's minimal.
What would you say is the most dangerous part along this road right now?
I mean, the one's the one. You know, it's windy, but it's beautiful, which is dangerous to people that want to look at it. They're distracted, they're driving slowly, or they're driving too fast. They're not familiar with the areas that have seen changes from the rain, from collapse, shifts in the road, dips in the road. There's some areas that it'll knock your car around pretty good if you're going too fast. But then I think aside from the one, getting out here, Nacimiento Ferguson is definitely the most dangerous part of this area, the area that I cover.
Has there been, with the road closures on both sides, has there been more accidents on Nacimiento than?
Once the bridge opens, I'm done out here, and then I'll answer that question. No. Surprisingly, it's been pretty quiet. Luckily, the locals that I've talked to are very aware that it is a dangerous road, and they all seem to drive it smartly, very astute and aware, looking for the people that finally seeing the one, and they're looking at the one as they're driving, and they're not paying attention to the road. So they're driving on the wrong side. So no rise in accidents, but everyone's been as smart and astute as I could hope for.
Nice. Have people been Has there been any incidences like past Gorda of people crossing, trying to see those slides, or has people been respecting those boundaries?
Yeah, when I go and talk to the flaggers, the guys that are sitting at the gate, every day there's people wanting to get by. Oh, can I just walk by? Can I just ride my bike? I'll give you $50, all that kind of stuff. But they know it's their job, and they don't want to lose their job just to let Jim Bob they don't know that's going to give them $100 so they can go see the slide. So as far as I know, they haven't let anyone that's not supposed to go through.
Is there any members of the community that have needed more help than usual, considering the road closures?
Pretty resilient, tough community down here.
I'm not a local here in Big Sur by any means. Worked out here for 2 months ish. But from what I get from the locals is, if you're gonna live in Big Sur, you need to know how to be self-sufficient, resilient, and be able to live without needing any assistance for a long time. And they all seem to be just fine. They help each other out. They got each other's backs, you know. So really helping the locals is not really what I've even had to deal with. It's the tourists whose car breaks down. It's the people that aren't familiar with the area that need directions and such.
And so, what do you expect from the tourists when Pfeiffer Creek Bridge opens?
I expect a lot more tourists. I think everyone's going to be very excited that the one's essentially open, but I expect a lot of a shock and surprise when they figure out that Gorda is still closed, the one is still closed, so they're going to be able to travel all the way down till it's closed, and then they're going to have to figure out how to get to their destination where they're trying to go. Be it turn around, go back to Monterey, or go up Nacimiento and figure out how to get to where they're going from the base.
Do you have any plans with this influx of tourism that's going to come shortly? They're going to be stopped abruptly. Do you have any plan of attack of how to address that?
Once the bridge opens, I go back to my normal deal in Monterey.
Okay.
Because the Big Sur units will then be covering the one again. And I'm not a normal Big Sur unit. I'm only covering this because I live in Paso Robles. So I don't particularly have a plan, and I don't know if the normal Big Sur units do. But I have voiced my concern.
What is your concern?
The amount of traffic coming down, that they're not going to be aware that Gorda's where the one's going to be closed.
I saw on Big Sur Kate blog. Do you follow that or see it?
I don't follow, but I'm aware of it.
Okay. It's talking about having to prove proof of residency for using the hike around Pfeiffer Trail. Is there any truth to that?
No, because it's open to tourists,
It's
anyone
open to
that wants to
public?
come by. I mean, if you go up to the deli, the tap house, you'll see all sorts of tourists that have just hiked through the Pfeiffer Trail. When it was closed, when CHP was turning people around initially after the rains, the collapse, the slides, excuse me, we were opening it to residents, and we were requiring proof of residency to allow them to get in.
Do you are you ever worried about future slides when you're driving along here? Are you worried that more of them will come abruptly?
Without the rain, not so much. But if it were to start raining and be relatively consistent, yeah. Especially since I have talked to the geotechnical engineers about Paul's slide specifically, how there's still so much dirt up on the hill that's fissuring and cracking and ready to fall. But just normal every day, no.
Did your source say that these rocks that are ready to fall, that they're still cracking? Do they see this to be a continuing thing in the future, or something that would be spurred again by future rains?
From what I understand, it's all contingent upon the coming winter and the amount of rain that we're going to get. They're leaving the road again, I'm not Caltrans, I'm not a geotech engineer, but from what I understand is they're leaving the road as is because there's no sense in repairing it because of all the dirt that is still hanging essentially above the road that is fissuring and cracking, and once it rains, it's just going to come sliding down. So they didn't knock it down for whatever reason. They're just letting it happen naturally, essentially. So
Do you
It's worse.
Yeah. Do you see yourself, or do you expect having to come back and work this beat again? Do you expect slides in the future, in the near future?
Yeah, the one slides all the time. Things are always happening on the one. Whether Paul's slide blocks the road again and we're needed out here this winter, who knows? I mean, maybe a winter like last winter, and maybe a winter like a couple before where we get no rain. So, but as long as I'm in Monterey, I definitely foresee issues with roads collapsing, bridges going out, because we build on the side of the one, or on the side of the hill to overlook the ocean. It's gonna happen.
Are you gonna miss working this beat once the Pfeiffer?
Parts of it.
Yeah.
Parts of it.
What are you gonna miss?
It's a good break. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, look at where we're at. You can't beat the view. The weather's gorgeous. When it was 115 over there, it was 95 here, but it was better than 115. So it's a good break. It's a good change, but I do look forward to getting back to my normal activities.
Do you want to ask about the car? Just to have to tell us about it.
Yeah, can you just describe why this car is here and what happened to it?
So from what I understand from some of the locals, they said that the person that owned this car, it broke down shortly after the bridge collapsed, and he left it here. And then I also was advised that he actually moved out of the area. Being as remote as we are, it puts a tax on the tow trucks to come out here because it's such a long drive, fuel, time, all that kind of stuff. I was hoping to be able to wait until the bridge opened to then tow this car out. It's not, it's a visual hazard because it's an annoyance, but it's not in anyone's way. Unfortunately, people have abused it, and you can see behind me, they've started to knock the windows out and such. So that's when I decided that as long as a tow truck will make the drive over Nacimiento Ferguson, that I'll call one out here and tow this guy out of here.
How do you feel? I've heard one number of a billion total to reopen both slides. Do you feel like that's kind of like a money not necessarily well spent, in the sense that more landslides are going to keep coming, and the one, the Mud Creek slide, that was the 60th slide to close Big Sur.
Oh, I can't speak as far as the money and how much it's going to cost to open both slides, get the one up and operational. But I know that the amount of people that I've turned around or told that the one is closed speaks volumes on how large of a tourist attraction this area is. People from all over the world, like literally all over the world, coming out here, plan on driving from Monterey down to San Simeon, to Los Angeles, to Santa Barbara, wherever, and up there we're telling them, no, you can't get there, the one's closed. Initially, after the rains, Nacimiento Ferguson was closed, so this area was literally an island. So that I can only imagine that the amount of tourism and money that this place has lost and turned around, the tourism's turned around, definitely makes that amount of money that they're spending to open it worth it.
Awesome.
You good?
Yeah, I feel good. You feel good?
Yeah, good.
Thank you very much.
We're all good. Epic. Thank you very much.